Hey, Gatekeeper fam! Welcome back to Weekly Soap Chronicles. I'm your girl Phil, and today I'm bringing you a double recap of Beyond the Gates episodes 147 and 148. But first, I need you to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a recap with a little bit of flair. Let's get into it. Okay, so we kick things off with Bill, who's up to his usual scheming ways. He's on the phone with his quote-unquote guy, the one who digs up dirt, and he's laser focused on finding skeletons in Andre's closet. Why? Because Bill is this close to calling Dani his wife again, but instead settles for the mother of his children. Someone's still not over her, is he? But just as Bill's plotting away, Hayley walks in and overhears enough to get her pissed. She's like, "Boundaries, Bill. Have you ever heard of them?" And for a second, she thinks he's micromanaging the class action suit. Phew, close call. But then, just as things start to heat up between them, Bill gets a text from Keegan. Turns out Andre's at Orphy and Bill lies to Hayley about a meeting. Hayley, of course, isn't buying it and calls Caroline to fact check. And of course, there is no meeting. Bill, you're in trouble. Meanwhile, over at Dani's place, things are steamy. Dani and Andre are fresh off a bang-bang session, and Andre is laying on the compliments. Dani's feeling herself, calling herself Danielle Richardson, but also admits she's rediscovering Dani Dupree. Andre's all in, saying he's never felt so free, and Dani agrees. But here's the kicker. As Andre heads out to grab her some duck barbecue sliders from Orphy Jeans, Dani's left alone thinking about kissing Bill. The love triangle is alive and well, folks. Now, over at Uptown, Vanessa's surprised to see Donnell and Jacob, thanks to Joey hijacking her in the parking lot. Joey's trying to play peacemaker, but Donnell's still reeling from his dad's gambling and unaliving. Joey shares a heartbreaking story about his mom's addiction and how he only found closure after learning the truth. Donnell's guilt is eating him alive. He's worried he'll end up like his dad. But Vanessa, being the queen she is, gives him a pep talk, reminding him that Doug wasn't an alcoholic and that he's stronger than he thinks. And Joey, Vanessa defends him, saying he's not an outsider, but a trusted friend. But she did not admit that they were more than just business partners and friends. So we move on to Nicole and Anita, who are having a heart-to-heart over tea. Nicole's worried about Martin and Smitty's marriage, but Anita flips the script, pointing out that Nicole's really questioning her own heart. Nicole admits she confronted her husband's mistress, pulling a Dani move, and then asks, "Are you really okay with Dani being in a loveless marriage?" Ugh. Oh my gosh, the judgment of these people are unmatched. Okay? Anita says Dani can't close her heart forever and hints to Nicole that Carlton might be into you. I see how he look at you. He's tall, dark, and handsome. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't have to be the one forever, but just go out and date. Enjoy yourself. Have some fun. But Nicole's interested. But could this be the start of a new romance? I guess we gotta stay tuned on that. And Nicole don't know what she wants, okay? Because, well, one thing we know she don't want is Ted, which I think is really, really sad. And, I just don't like the fact that she is not giving Ted a chance for them to even get back together. And speaking of Martin and Smitty, they are over at the club and are having what feels like a first date. They're holding hands and reminiscing about when they first got together. Martin's feeling all the feels, realizing how much Smitty's had to wait for him. He's imagining a future together, but he's also worried it might not be enough for Smitty. But Smitty, on the other hand, is ready to move forward. He tells Martin he's ready for him to come home. Yay! It's about time. Because he was getting on my nerve with the, you lied to me. Oh, get over it. Move on. Now, back to Bill, who's now stalking Andre at Orphe Jean's. Bill accuses Andre of being a gold digger, but Andre claps back saying, you know what, I got my own money, and maybe you thinking about you, because when you first met Dani, you didn't have nothing. And only a damn fool would kick the most sexiest woman to the curb. Bill warns Andre not to hurt Dani, but Andre's like, that's your baggage, not mine. Ooh, the tension is real. Bill know he jealous. He is so jealous that Dani has moved on, let alone got married to somebody else. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, Hayley shows up at Dani's place looking for Bill. Dani suggests Hayley try obedience school. Hayley's not having it and yells for Bill to come downstairs. Bill, I know you're here. Come downstairs right at this minute. Like she talking to a child, okay? The insecurity level for this chick is also unmatched. But Dani's just sitting there smiling like, it's karma. I tried to warn you. Where did he tell you he was going? He had a meeting. Something just came up. Okay, that's him. Then Dani says she tells Hayley that she should wonder who Bill's really with. Maybe Caroline. And then Hayley calls Dani a biatch, of course, and stay out of our marriage, and storms off while Dani's left wondering where Bill really is. Oh, the drama. Later, Martin heads to Anita's to talk about Smitty. They're planning to tell the kids about their reunion later on, and Martin's feeling hopeful. Meanwhile, Smitty's at home with Nicole, who came to see the kids. Smitty tells Nicole about the reunion with he and Martin, and she asks, are you sure? Smitty says there are no more secrets, just love. They embrace, and Nicole's clearly moved. Yeah, Nicole, why don't you take a page out of Martin and Smitty's book and see if your marriage can be saved? Ugh. But she just act like she don't love Ted no more, period. I'd still say the 30 years of marriage, she just throwing it away. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about Nicole and Ted. And finally, we wrap up episode 147 with Bill and Hayley. Bill comes home ready for some bedroom action, but Hayley's like, I'm not in the mood, I'm tired, and I'm going to bed. Leaving Bill standing there like, what? Okay, and then over at Dani's, she and Andre are enjoying their sliders and talking about Hayley's visit. Oh yeah, she came to came over here thinking Bill was here. And Andre said, oh, I could have saved her the trouble because he was with me. And that's how the episode ended. So in episode 148, we start off at the club where Jacob catches Andre and Dani mid-kiss. Well, hello, newlyweds. Yep, caught him in the act. Dani's off to go hang with Pamela, and Andre's heading to the gym. But not before they chat. He and Jacob chat about Derek and how he's doing. Jacob, being the protective friend, warns Andre about getting involved with women on the rebound. He even brings up Drab Ashley, who wants marriage and kids. Okay, good for her. But you just married somebody who has 2 grown daughters. And, okay, Dani already has kids. And Andre is like, how is any of this your business? Of course, Jacob says, well, it's because I care for Dani. She is my mother-in-law, and I don't want you to hurt her. Okay, why does everybody think that Andre is going to hurt Dani? Or Drab Ashley, for that matter? Nobody is taking into consideration Andre's feelings. Okay? Ugh. It just boggles the mind, the judgment of these people on this soap. Meanwhile, Pam and Dani are catching up, and Pam's raving about how great Fashion Week was. But things take a turn when Dani admits she and Bill kissed. Yes, Pam's stunned, and honestly, we are too. Dani hasn't told Hayley about the kiss, and she feels a little smug about Hayley's visit to her house looking for Bill. And let's not forget, Bill tracked down Andre to confront him about marrying Dani. Dani thinks it's all delicious. Pam, however, realizes Dani hasn't told Andre about the kiss either. And Dani brushes it off, saying, it wasn't it wasn't a romantic kiss, and Bill kissed me anyway. She's all about how respectful Andre is, and drama. Now over at Bill and Hayley's, things are frosty. Hayley sitting on the couch, jaws tight, and when he questions her about her mood, she goes straight for the jugular. So where were you yesterday? Bill denies being with Dani, but Hayley knows better because I already know. I went looking for you. And of course, Bill is like, what? Okay. Bill's not happy about her snooping. And if you think I'm getting ready to give you my passwords to my phone and email, you got another thing coming. Either you trust me or you don't. But Hayley's not letting it go. She even accuses him of getting a prescription for ED. And Bill is like, no, I don't have ED. Okay? But I tell you what, why don't you go ahead and hire a PI to follow me around? And Hayley said, maybe I will, considering that you hired one to follow Andre. I just don't understand why you're so obsessed with your ex. I'm not the one obsessed with her. You are. Okay? And he ain't lying about that, because Dani runs rent-free in Hayley's mind. So Bill say, all I'm doing is looking out for my daughter's best interest. Now, of course, Hayley doesn't buy it. He lays down the law saying, you know what? If we gonna stay married, you gonna have to accept it. And she was like, if? Yeah, if. Hayley looks hurt, and I don't blame her. This marriage is hanging on by a thread. Next, we head to Orphe Jean's where Eva meets Mona and Jan for breakfast. Eva's trying to make amends for what her mother Leslie did to Nicole, but Mona and Jan aren't letting her off the hook that easily. Eva regrets everything and wants their help to get Leslie to chill out. Now, Mona points out that Leslie resents the Duprees, but also wants to be them. Eva hopes they can talk to Leslie, but Mona's not so sure because she remembers Leslie's cruelty affected Nicole. Mona leaves and Jan stays behind to check in on Eva. Eva opens up about spending time with Peaches, her somewhat grandmother, a woman who's ill, and how she's been doing a lot of caretaking. Jan agrees to talk to Leslie but isn't sure about resuming their friendship. Eva's trying, but it's clear she's got a long road ahead. Speaking of Leslie, she's at Tomas' office trying to meddle in Eva's love life as usual. Tomas isn't proud of how he treated Eva, but Leslie's not here for his guilt trip. She brings up Ted and suggests Tomas rethink his safe relationship with Kat. But Kat and I love each other, and that's why we're together. Okay, Tomas the mannequin. Tomas is clearly uncomfortable and wonders what would Eva think if she knew her mother was there pleading her case. Leslie laughs and plays it off and says, I'm not worried about Eva finding a partner. I'm worried about you. She leaves with a cheeky hasta luego because classic Leslie always stirring the pot. Later, Hayley shows up at the office and Tomas confronts her about using him to make Bill jealous. He's furious because it could have cost him his job. Hayley brushes it off. Well, it was just a little prank and Bill knew right away that's what it was. It's no big deal, but you don't have to worry because Bill and I are back on track. Sure, Hayley, sure. Over at Jacob's, Naomi's feeling queasy and skipping work to avoid everyone's questions. Now, the tension between them is thick because Naomi feels like they're not on the same page. Now, before, we was in agreement about us not having kids, and now all of a sudden you But now he's dreaming about their future family. Naomi's worried about the reality of it all. And what if something happens to Jacob? She doesn't want everything to fall on her. Jacob asks her to reconsider it, saying their kids would be adorable. Naomi laughs and agrees to think about it, but you can tell this isn't over yet. Okay, side note. Why having a baby with Naomi is all negative? Not that, we could have a beautiful child. Yes, it's maybe a little rough, or whatever, because all parents with newborns, they go through a trying time and all this other stuff. But that's all she bringing up is the negative aspects of it. The sleepless nights, the colicky child. Who's to say all that is going to happen? You know what I'm saying? And why are you predicting that something's going to happen to Jacob and you'll be all alone by yourself raising a child? When you got a mother and a father, okay, and you got grandparents, she wouldn't be raising a child alone. Anyway, I can't wait to see how this one turns out. Back at the club, Andre finishes his workout and offers Dani a ride home. She's about to stay with Pam, but changes her mind when she sees Bill stroll in. Dani and Andre, of course, walk by the table on their way out. Hey, Bill, how you doing? I'm fine. Good. You might want to try some other breakfast menu. It's really good. Bye. Leslie gets a surprise when Jan calls her over at Orphe Jean's. Jan tells Leslie she's driving Eve crazy and calls her a heartless B. Leslie, ever the diva, responds with, "It's Miss B to you." Oh, and back with Pam and Bill, he comes over to talk to Pam and was like, "How long you gonna let this situation go on?" And she was like, "What situation, Bill?" Of course, don't trifle with me. You the only trifling person here, okay? And we just can't let this go on. He's just using her, blah, blah, blah. And he's gonna hurt her and blah. I'm like, oh my gosh. And of course she's like, "Oh, like you did?" Okay, Bill, get out my face. Anyway, back with Jan and Leslie. Jan lays down the law. She's willing to be friends again, but only if Leslie doesn't use her in one of her schemes. Leslie's touched and admits she's been lonely. They agree to wipe the slate clean, and for a moment, we see a softer side of Leslie. Who knew? And finally, we end the episode with Dani and Andre at home. Dani's feeling insecure, worrying that Andre deserves better than her. She tells him to think about the future he wants and offers him an out. But Andre reassures her he's lost everything before and he treasures their relationship. It's a sweet, heartfelt moment that reminds us why we're rooting for these two. Because I know I am, and everybody is so against them. And that's a wrap, Gatekeepers, on episodes 147 and 148 of Beyond the Gates. What did you think of those 2 episodes? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Weekly Soap Chronicles. Until next time, Gatekeepers, keep the drama alive.